This is what we are going to do for our finals. We are going to assemble um, our name in Creo, and we will create each of these letters as a part, and we will assemble them using the assembly feature in Creo. So for our finals, you will have to do your name or your nickname, and you're going to need to do three unique letters. So if your name is Alan, you will have to do letter A, letter L, and letter N. If your name is Bert, you have to do letter B, letter E, letter R. Okay? You can do the fourth letter or fifth letter if you have more time, but the minimum would be three unique letters. Okay? So when you do your letters, you will have to do them in 3D, and you have to put a connector at the rear right side. So rear meaning back, on the right side, you must have this. So here's the back of the letter. If you look at the back of the letter, this is the right side, and that's where you're going to put the connector. You will also have to use this part 3321002 from our I exercise 1, the MOA, and we will also have to do part 3321012 also from our I exercise 1, the MOA. So you will have to create these letters in 3D. So you're going to create this and then do an assembly. Okay. So for your letter A, I gave you all the dimensions that you need to construct letter A. You will have to extrude that to 0.150. And then when you're done, you're going to use the rear side. So this is the back side of that letter. And on that back side, you're going to create a sketch, and then you're going to create a circle with a diameter, not a radius, but a diameter of 0.15. The center of that circle is 0.125 from the very bottom of the letter. At this point, you will also put a point at the center of this circle. And then once you have that circle and that point, you will extrude that to a 0.10. Okay. And then you will select that face after the extrusion. You're going to select that face so that you can do another sketch, and you're going to draw another circle that's bigger. The diameter, not the radius, but the diameter is 0.230. So it's bigger than your first circle, and you should be using the same center as of your first circle. Okay, so now you're going to have that second circle that's bigger, but you're only going to extrude that to 0.03. So the first smaller circle, okay, is longer, and then this one is shorter, so it's a flat image. And then after you've done your extrusion, you're going to now select this new face, and then you are going to insert your cross. So the cross section that we did back when we did all our parts, you will do that again. If you don't have that, then you have to draw this cross. Here are the dimensions. Make sure that the axis of the cross, the center of the cross, is at the center of that last circle we did. And then you're going to extrude that to 0.40, and that's what you're going to have. And then you're going to check your volume if you got it correct. Okay, so if the volume is correct, then you did everything correct. And then you will now go to your next letter. That each letter will have to have this connector. Okay, so if your next letter is letter L, then you're going to have letter L also with a connector on the rear right side. Okay, there you go. If your next letter is N, then again you have your letter N, and then you will have your cross connector. Okay, so that's the first step. If is you're going to draw or create a 3D of each of the letters. Minimum is 3, and that's gonna give you your passing grade. And then we're going to assemble them after we're done. Okay, so I have given you the dimensions for your letter A. For if your next letter is L, you also have the dimensions for letter L. You're gonna extrude that again. And letter N, I'm gonna give you the direct dimensions for all the letters. The minimum dimensions, you can create them, and then you should always put a connector on the back, rear, right side of each letter. Okay, same dimensions as you've done for your first for this letter A, so exactly the same. Okay, so all of the letters, you will see a connector. That's for letter A, for letter L, and for letter N, minimum of three. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to assemble them using your two parts from the MOA or exercise, I exercise number one. Okay, just to follow up on that one, we are going to use parts from our I exercise one from the MOA, part 321.002 and part 321.012. We will also use cross dot sec, which is one of the first parts that we did, or I mean, one of those first sections that we did from one of the very first parts that we did in I exercise one. Okay, so again, you're going to create your letters, you're going to put a connector, and then you will open up part 002, and you will create a new row using family tables, create a new row and assign that row a distance of 5, and you will go back to this one because 5 may not be enough to for your name. So you're going to create a new assembly. Make sure it says assembly and you name it using your last name dash finals dash 001. And the first part that you're going to use or add is the part 002, and you're going to use that new family table row that we created. And it doesn't matter where you orient that because that's our first part. So all you do is click the check mark, and then you're going to add a new assembly. You're going to add your 002. Okay, so 002 would be your connector from what we did on the MOA or the assembly. So that's 012. And after that, you will align that to the left end of the 002 part, the rod. Okay. And then you can actually change the color of this material by going through the appearance and then selecting a color from this list. Okay, let me show you how. Now you can see that the parts are aligned. So if you zoom closer to this area over here and turn that around, you can see that uh, part 02 and part 12 are aligned. Also, you can change the appearance of the parts by putting colors on them. So to do that, you change your selection to part. Select, let's say, the rod or part 002. And then over here up on the ribbon, there's appearance. And then you can select your own colors here. For example, let's select this one. And then it would now change color. You can see the difference that they're aligned. It's flush in the face and everything. You can also change your view from standard shading to shading with reflections, and it should just give you a sort of more realistic effect of uh, of your part. Okay, so once you have changed the appearance, go ahead and click save, and you're now ready to go to the next step, which is now adding your first letter. So in my case, this was going to be the letter A, and remember that the letter A and all letters have a correct volume depending on the letter. and it has these connectors found on the right rear of each letter. Um, when you place it uh, in a Creo, you have to place it and put constraints so that the connector will align to the cross hole of part 012 3321012. So this is actually the essence of the finals, is to do your assembly. So connect it and then make sure that it inserts correctly. There will be an extra piece sticking out, and there should the 012 3321012, this gray piece, and the letter should be flushed on this surface. Okay, and when you place them correctly, when you check the green check mark, this is how it should look like. You can change the appearance again, just like I showed you before. And the last thing you should be doing is checking for a global interference check. And it should say on the lower left corner, there are no global interference, or there are no interfering parts. And when you do that, you can now click save, and this is how it should look like. Okay? So the next step would be to create your next letter. In my case, it's going to be letter L. I will give you all the measurements of each letter. You will extrude that letter again, and from the right rear of each letter, you will again create the connector just like you did in letter A. Now the center, so there's a circle here on this connector, and the center of that circle is always going to be 0.125 from the very bottom of this of each letter. So that's always the case. Okay, and it doesn't really matter where it would be, where the circle would be on the left and right, but the circle on the rear face, not here, this is the front face, so the rear would be here. It should be 0.125 from the very edge of each letter. Okay, so I showed you how to do that on letter A. You have to draw a circle on the right rear side, then put a point. You can see here the circle and the point is 0.125 from the very bottom of the letter, and then you will extrude that again to 1.0. Then you're going to create a new sketch using the surface of that extruded cylinder. You will create a new circle with a diameter of 0.230. Okay, diameter, not radius. They must be concentric. They must be using the same center. And then you're going to extrude that to 0.03. And then you will again create your next or your last sketch using that surface, and then you will import your cross section or draw it again if you don't have one, and then extrude that to 0.40, and then when you click OK, you can check for the volume. So that's how each letter should be. So you're now done with your letter L. When you are done, you will go back again to the assembly, and you will place not the letter first, but another 3321012, which is this connector, and you will again do some placement and constraint. And for now, you can just put it anywhere in the middle of this rod, which is a 3321002. Okay, so once you have it there, the next step would be to add your letter. And remember, there's a connector here. And then you will now put this letter and use the back connector to put in this hole. So you can see here, you can move it here. You can do some constraints so they're aligned. And then you can have that flush on the surface, something sticking out here in the very back end. And then when you are done, you can just change the appearance again, just like we did in the letter A. Okay. Now, because we placed this connector in the middle of the part 002, right? 002, which is this brown rod that I have here. You will have to edit definition of 0112, 012, and then this letter L, or your second letter, will disappear temporarily. And as you put a new constraint, you wanted to use the surface, the inner surface of 0112 and the edge of the first letter, in my case is letter A, so that they have an exact distance of 2.0. Okay, so you want the distance between this surface and that one to be 2.0. All right, so let me highlight that. You want that to be 2.0. Okay, so once you have that, when you click check mark, the letter should come back again, should attach to this connector. If it's not, then you can just again edit the placement. And now you're ready to put in your next letter. In my case, because my next letter is the same as my first letter, A, I don't need to create it. All I have to do is place it again. Okay? Okay, so we just finished, or I just finished putting in my first two letters. I'm going to now work on my third letter, but because my third letter is the same letters I have on my first letter, which is letter A, I'm going to just simply do the same things I did before. I'm going to insert part 0012, and I'm going to put that on the part 002, and then I can put in my same letter by adding it to the assembly. And once I put it in there, I can edit this part and put a distance constraint on it so that when I press OK, the letter A will be spaced closer to the distance between my first letter A and the letter L here. And then I'm going to just simply change the material appearance. Okay. So, but if you have a third letter, like a third unique letter, like letter N, so letter A is a unique letter, L is a unique letter. This is not a unique letter. They're the same as the first one. So you are required to have three unique letters. So A, L, and then this is my third letter. And I will give you all the measurements of the letters. You will extrude it to the same thickness, 0.15. You will put in the same connector on the same location. Remember, the center of this connector is 0.0125 from the very edge of each letter. Okay, and once you have that, you're now ready to do the same steps. You're going to add another 0.012, put it in the rod, and then at this point you can actually put a distance constraint before you even put the letter, so you can do that there, or you can do it after you put the letter. It doesn't really matter. So add your unique letter, then place a constraint on it, and once you put it in there, you can see that there's almost equally spaced. And then all you do is change the appearance on it, so they're all the same, and you are actually almost done with your work. Uh, if you have more time, complete your name. But if you don't have time, the minimum is at three unique letters. But if you have time, like some of you finish really early, then try to complete your letters. And then the last part that you're going to do is you're going to submit your part and your assembly to the folder I shared with you. So I did share with you some folder, and I'll try to show you how to do that on this video. Okay, so now that you're done and you have all the letters of your name on your assembly, and you must have three unique letters on it. So I have letter A, I have L, and then I have N. This second letter A is not unique because it's the same as this one. So you must have three unique letters. Okay. So once you've done that, you can see it's all connected. And it's okay if the part 002 is longer. That's fine. We can You can change the length of that one on the family table. But once you're done with that one, go ahead and click save. It might ask you to regenerate first, so click regenerate before you click save. Okay, so click regenerate, then you click save. And then you will see that all the files that you inserted are going to be on your model tree. So this is the assembly. This is the long brown rod there, part 002. Then I have my letter A, letter L. I have my letter N here. I have part 012. So I have how many parts did I use, or how many pieces of files did I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. So I have 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this whole assembly. is 6. So I have 6 pieces um, to submit. You might have more than 6 if you have a longer name and you have more time. And if you didn't finish, you might only have one letter, then so be it. That's what you have. That's what you have. So once you're finished, go ahead and regenerate and save. And then you will now have to do the last step, which is submitting your document. So if you remember, I gave you a form where I wanted to collect your last name, first name, and that is so that I can actually create a folder for each one of you. Okay, so on this link, when you click on this link and open it, it should open for you a Google Sheet where you will see all your names arranged by last name. If you didn't do what I asked you to fill up, then you wouldn't have your name here. But here are your personal links. You cannot open any other person's link except your own. So if you try to open somebody else, it will ask you, it will block you from opening it. Um, so find your name and click on your link. Okay, click on your link, and it will open for you your folder. Okay, so this is a personal folder that is only shared to you and nobody else. And what you're going to do is you're going to click new, and you're going to do a file upload, and then your Windows browser, I mean your file explorer will pop up, and all you have to do is go to your Google Drive engineering folder. So in this case, this is my engineering drive. I go to my drive and go to engineering, and then I can now submit the files that I need. So I have 6 files to submit. If you have multiple copies of this one, go ahead and select each one of them and just submit all of them. So I can press my control key on my keyboard and I can select each one. Okay. What else? I have my 002 part. So here's my 002 part. I use my 002 part here. And if you have 2 of them, go ahead and put that in. I have my O12 part, and then I have my letter A. And if you have multiple copies of your letter A, go ahead and select all of them. Even this one, if you can't recognize it, if you don't know, then select that too. You did a assembly, so select that too. So all the copies of that one. Your next letter L for me. So I did that, letter L. I have multiple copies. I also have multiple copies of my letter N. And then I'm done. So all I have to do is click open, and then it will upload all the files for me here. Make sure you don't close your browser when everything is checked or has a green check on it. That means all the files have been uploaded, and that's how you are going to submit your finals. Okay. Um, so I will open each one of these, and in Creo, if you have a file or any part, I believe you can go to tools, and you can look at the history by going to investigate and file history, and then it would tell me or anybody who created this file. Okay, so here is the name of the file or the user who created this file. So if you ask for a file from somebody, Creo will tell or will keep a metadata of who created this file. So that's how it's done. That's how you're going to submit your file. I will um, get all of the files you submitted on a folder, and then I should be able to find all of your files here, and then open each one and open your assembly, and it should open for me Creo and show all of the all of the files. Now, if you missed any one of these, it will turn red and I won't be able to see it. So make sure that you know that you have at least 6 files to submit. If you have 3 unique letters, okay, one, two, three, well, 1, 2, 3 for 3 unique letters. Then I have my connector, that's 4, that's 5, and this whole assembly, that's the 6 files you're supposed to submit. Okay, now if you're not sure which one, I told you that you can submit uh, multiple copies of those files. Um, the more files you submit, the longer it will take you to upload them, and do not leave the class until all of this are checked green. Okay, so you are now done with the finals. That's how it's done. And I'll put a video on how to do this again over here in the bottom of your finals. Okay.